So we have a product called household targeting, which the acronym becomes HHT. The benefits for household targeting, we launched it in the US just under a year ago. We recently launched it in London. And the benefits for planners in buildings like Starcom and every other agency around town and their brands is that we now have the ability to find the consumer and their household by use of the IP and the modem detection. So whichever screen they are consuming on, we can actually identify the household and therefore deliver a message, whether that be on a mobile, a smartphone, tablet, connected TV device, games console, or a PC laptop. And actually the clever part about that is that once we've identified the household and we use the ability to have up to 15 devices in a household, because the number of devices in households has grown exponentially over the last couple of years because of things like smartphones and tablets. We can target that household, and that works perfectly for brands where it's a household decision. So things like which movie we're going to see at the weekend, great, because you can find the kids on their tablets, the mum on a PC, and the dad watching on connected smart TV, and we can deliver that message. So there's that kind of pester power that's included in there. But also brands like cars as well. So car purchasing has become much more of a family-based decision than it ever was in the past. You know, 1950s UK looked like the man in the house chose his black car, and therefore that was the decision that the household made. But that's not the case any longer, and car manufacturers are aware of that, that the needs of the mum in the household, the needs of the kids in what happens in the back of the car is really important. So the ability to do that, and then to target them in the home. But if mum then takes her PC to work, and we can identify that that's still the same mum from that same house, or the father, or whatever that might be, and we can retarget to those people at that time. How does the physical product, how does household targeting actually work? Well, we, from the consumption on any device, we understand where that device is by detection of the IP in the house, and any of those devices that are on that IP. So whether that's a PC, a smartphone, or a tablet, and we, through anonymous identification ID of those devices, we can learn if that's one given house. The clever thing about the algorithm that identifies those is they actually can identify if there's a new machine that's coming to the house. So if you've got a visitor, for example, with a smartphone, it won't identify that because it's not constant. It's just someone coming in and someone coming out. And we use 15 because in the US and the UK, the average household has anywhere between 4 and 12 devices. So we use 15 devices, so we make sure that we cover that. But it also means that we don't identify small offices or coffee shops where actually there might be 15 people in there, but they're not constants. They're not constantly linked to that IP. So that's the mechanic. So we actually can understand the physical household and identify them and build up information about them. YuMe's policy around privacy is that we abide and comply with all EU data privacy policies, which actually are probably some of the toughest in the world. And the ability, because it's anonymised, it means that actually we don't take any personal data, we don't take any information that the consumer didn't want out into the ecosystem. And we only use it to deliver that campaign. And I think and the last part of the question, which is what are the benefits to the people in agencies and the brands? Well, if you think about the fact that on many occasions planners have had to subjectively decide how much of their budget they put onto PC for video, how much of their budget they put onto tablet, how much of their budget they put onto connected TV. Well, this household targeting eradicates that model, because it actually says what planners have asked us for a very long time now, which is, I want to deliver my message to consumers wherever and whenever they are on any device that they're on, and the ability for household targeting is that it actually reaches the consumers. And YuMe don't set the percentages of how much of that is PC, how much of that is mobile, tablet. We let the campaign run, and if one household consumes 80% on a PC, well then the campaigns will be delivered 80%. But if another household has 50% of their consumption, which is on a mobile or a tablet, then it will be delivered there. So it's about getting to the consumer where they are. And there's nothing worse from a planning perspective is subjectively deciding that I want 80% of my campaign to go on PC, and actually in the household that they're trying to reach, their opinion former or their decision maker is actually using a smartphone or a tablet, and they haven't reached them anywhere near enough times. So that's the real benefit. It's actually, it's technology providing information on where the consumer is, not subjective planning. And I think that's the real benefit. It's taking to where the consumers are, not anything that a planner has to think about from their own individual. Is this PC? Should it be smartphone? Should it be tablet? And I think that's the key benefit. YuMe's proprietary technology that we've had now for just about 10 years has enabled us to understand, because we're connected to the publisher side of the world where content is actually playing, we understand where that content is on which screen. But actually, when we deliver the campaign, we basically open up the doors of the household and say, the content is wherever it's being consumed is where the campaign will run. So in the past, when planners have come to us and said, I want to deliver my campaign on tablet and on PC, then we'll talk about percentages of where that campaign gets delivered. This doesn't do that. This actually says, deliver content within the objectives of the campaign where the consumer is, and then we let it run. And at the end of the campaign, when we look at the campaign measurements and actually during for the people that are spending, we actually come back to them and say, look, we didn't put any barriers on this. And I think a great example of that is we recently ran a campaign for Hyundai, and Hyundai natural planning would have delivered 80% of the campaign on a PC, 10% on smartphone and 10% on tablet, because that was the subjective view of what the campaign should look like. However, in the recent Hyundai campaign, 45% of it ran on tablet, 25 on smartphones, and the remainder on PC. So the planner didn't have that information prior to, and that allows them to get more understanding of how people's consumer adoption has changed and is changing, and how they can get that message out there to people in the future as well. So it's let the campaign run and then provide the information and the analytics back to the agency at the end of the campaign.